Let's move on to our next topic, man. I want to talk about Caleb and the offense, man. They put up 27 points this week, pretty good. Caleb Williams, I believe this is his best game as a pro. I know I said that last week, but he got an end zone this week. He went 32 of 47, 340 yards passing, 2 touchdowns. Had 33 yards on the ground off 6 carries, and the offense just looked fluid. There were some stalled drives. I think they had a lot to do with execution. Of course, those things can get better. I thought Caleb was excellent. Obviously, I can't give him a pass for that terrible sack he took in overtime that took them out of range to win that game. But he's a rookie. He makes rookie mistakes. I know it's gonna sound like I'm like giving him a pass, but it was phenomenal. I loved what I saw, and I feel like it's making the game easier. The Caleb I saw a couple weeks ago at Hallis looked very dejected, and I was very worried. He's starting to have the same look that Justin had, the look that Mitch had, and I was worried that they might be doing it again. But the switch to Thomas Brown, I feel, saved the trajectory of his personal season, and it just makes it easier. And the way that he talks about Thomas Brown, the way that the players talks about Thomas Brown, it's like a breath of fresh air, and he's making the game easier for him. And what I have been yelling from the mountaintops since like week 3, run. When there's not a play open, run. And you can also see the offensive line doesn't look as bad when you're getting the ball out quick, when the scheme makes sense, when the play calling makes sense. He only got sacked twice yesterday, and one of them was on him. So I think that has a lot to do with it. And it's just, I was thinking, how different would this season be if the season started with Thomas Brown as the offensive coordinator? They probably still would have lost a couple games because Flus is an idiot. But just offensively, go back to the Houston Texans game they lost. How much more that they could have done on that final drive to win that game? People forget it was a 6-point game with the Bears having a chance to win the game. How differently would have looked week 1 against that defense against Tennessee? How differently would have looked against Indianapolis? They'd have won that game. They wouldn't have won a stupid 4th and 1. They'd have won in Washington. There's so many different play calls that Shane Waldron made that we know Thomas Brown weren't going to do. And what impressed me the most about this, both from Caleb perspective and Thomas Brown perspective, it was against this really good Minnesota Vikings defense. Brian Flores makes rookie quarterbacks like rookie quarterbacks. That was not the case. Caleb looked in control. They took what the defense gave them. They didn't force downfield shots. And what I loved was the tight window throws. That was elite quarterback stuff where it looked like it was going to be an interception, but he got it out super quick and got it in those tight windows to DJ Moore, to DeAndre Swift, to Keenan Allen twice. It was just love to see that. And, I feel you, Mikey, we said you need a win for the offense, but I actually feel the offense is fine. Not to say that a win wouldn't help, that I'm way more worried about the defense confidence, because being around the offense, it just feels like and I don't say they're ignoring the record, but it feels like it's a new season for them, but it's not for the defense, kind of. Now, I do believe a win can help them for sure, and I hope they get a couple for that. But I think that this offense knows that, look, if we don't have this idiot that we have for 9 weeks, we're in a different position. So I love what I saw from Caleb. I think he's going to do even better the rest of the year with Thomas Brown. But as far as Thomas Brown, if it keeps going this way, and I'm not going to crown him yet, still got 6 more games left. If it continues the offense to be this potent, he should get a job interview for the Bears for the head coaching spot. And then go even further. If they get lambasted in 72 hours, like probably will happen, fire Matt Eberflus during the mini buy, and that's the best audition you can have right there. That's the best job interview you can have, by actually putting him on the job, Thomas Brown, and having him actually show you what he can do. So I loved what I saw from both of them.
Scott, remember, he's going to get an interview anyway. He's black.
You know what I mean? Besides the Rooney Rule, like an actual shot. Yeah, like an actual chance. Not the Rooney Rule interview where we got to interview this nigga, but an actual chance to be the coach is what I mean.
Yeah, still got my money on Joe Brady.
I wouldn't be mad at Joe Brady, but go ahead. What would you think about Thomas Brown and Caleb?
See, I'm hedging my bet because it's 2 games. I like the confidence and I like the aura and shit, but it's been 2 games. Like we had the Green Bay game, which as long as we didn't get our ass beat, we was gonna feel good about the situation. But then we had the game yesterday where Caleb goes off, so to speak, and he had a game and no interceptions, even though he probably could have had like at least two of them joints too. So everything looks good. What happens against Detroit? What happens against Minnesota at home? What happens against, even though they're injured and everything, what happens against San Francisco and Seattle with the 12th man? What happens against Green Bay again? I'm hedging my bet because it's two games. Like I'm not about to get in a situation where, I like everything that I see because, she's the baddest bitch right now in front of me. But then when shit start hit the fan, that bad bitch ain't as bad as you thought it was. So I'm hedging my bet, but I like what I see with these next two games. It's not enough for me to be like, yo, give him the reins. Because if he has the reins, then that means he can't work as closely with Caleb because he has to worry about the whole entire team for 6 more games. So if this is what we can get, let's see what the audition looks like as you look at the offense, not as you look at the whole team. Because if you fire Matt Eberflus and give the reins to him, then you take all of that, give it to somebody else.
I agree with that. I'm with you. I'm not crowning him yet, but I'm saying if it continues.
Yeah, even if it continues, like
Yeah.
they don't want that. Like
even if it continues, you don't think he should be considered to actually fill the position?
No, I mean, he should get an interview. Like I said, he gonna get an interview because he's black. Like he's going to get an interview, so he's technically going to be considered. But there's other candidates that's out there who's probably even been in better positions throughout the whole year. Like Joe Brady. Look at what Joe Brady has done with Josh Allen. Look at what Liam Cohen has done with Baker Mayfield. There's other candidates that's out there. I'm just hedging my whole bet because of what we see now. Like just because we see what we see these next two games, that don't mean we give him the job. Like, nah, I'm cool off all of this shit. I need to see it consistently. Now, if we are at the last game of the season and Caleb looks magnificent, even in losses and shit, then I could be like, nah, I think we need to look at that shit. Not after 2 games, after what some of these, you saw what Liam Cohen and Baker Mayfield did yesterday.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not saying. Look, I'm not
No,
saying.
I'm just saying. I'm talking to the people. Like y'all see that shit.
Right.
Y'all see what Joe Brady has been doing all this year. Like, nah, let's hold off. Let's wait.
All right. I definitely hear you. Josh McCown. I don't want to hear any Josh.
Oh hell no! You stop that
God,
shit.
no.
Yeah, but
Go ahead,
I mean, this is my thing real quick. The only advantage I think Thomas Brown has is the fact that he's already in the building. So that's why I keep saying, like, give him the opportunity now. So if he clicks with Caleb and Caleb comes to you and says, like, nah, bro, I want to build with him, you let that happen. Like, I don't think this is a situation where you should try to overrule your young quarterback because you sat here and tried to put him in the best position possible. So if he comes to you and says, hey, no, I like this guy. I like what we got brewing. I think they got to let that rock in some capacity. And also off the strength that they interviewed Thomas Brown for the offensive coordinator position, that lets me know that they have faith in him to at least lead a position group. So again, get Flus the fuck out of there and see what this dude can really do and then go from there.
Mikey, what's your take on the situation and what you saw from them yesterday?
Yeah, I would do that. I think we still kind of like Banks said, you still got to pump the brakes. It's only been 2 weeks. Last week they only scored 19 points. This week, they still only had 10 points. Going into the fourth quarter, it took some crazy shit to happen to get that 17 to force OT. But I'm not really kind of like leaning either way. I do agree with Dante. I think if we lose Thursday, which we more than likely will, in a fashion in which the defense is embarrassed again. Mind you, the Lions are embarrassing everybody on their offensive side. But if they do it to Flus again, I think we probably get an alert that he's fired by Saturday, and maybe you allow somebody like Eric Washington, kind of like a senior head. Somebody, a coach with a little bit more chops in the game to take over the whole operation, and you allow Thomas Brown to still kind of rock out as OC because he's building something. In the end, I don't think Thomas Brown will be under real consideration to be a head coach next year for the Chicago Bears. I think they go the veteran route. I think Kevin Warren is gonna have a real big kind of like voice on going with that. But he's auditioning for offensive coordinator roles, all over the league next year, and there's going to be plenty of openings. So I think right now they're just both in a beneficial spot. He needs to boost his resume as an OC right now, and working with the number 1 pick and getting him right is there's no better opportunity.
So cool. Triple double hat trick, I know the code too. Ice trade, go for trade, yeah we cold too. Getting paper on these player haters, old news. Money on the other line, so I'm not gonna hold you. Money on the other line, so I'm not gonna hold you. Money on the other line, so I'm not gonna hold you. Money on the other line.